Hi, in this video, we'll share our newest feature, Protection Automation. Protection Automation is currently available on Polygon for AAVE v3. So if you go into the v3 panel, you'll notice a couple of new items. First, you'll notice Automation Protection up here, and you can see that it says the status here is off. You'll also notice it in the strategy section. And you'll also notice that we are showing our risk factor as both debt to collateral as well as health factor. Health factor is the way that AAVE shows its risk parameters. Now, this is actually super important for protection automation because we're going to use health factor for the settings. So I'm going to read this and then I'll show you an example. Protection automation will pay back debt to return the position to the specified target health ratio upon hitting the triggering health factor. The other thing to note is that automation is continuous and will continue to run until it is canceled. For more information, please see our automation guide. All right, so the two most important things for setting automation are the triggering health factor and the target health factor. So let's look at a different example so we can kind of get a better sense of how this works. Okay, so here I have visualized a AAVE position whose health factor is 2.5, whose trigger is 2, and whose target is 3. So in this scenario, if the health factor were for any reason to go below 2, automation will take it from 2 and bring it all the way to 3. So now let's actually go and use a real example. So this position is at 3.14. So let's say we wanted to trigger at 3. And for target, we could say 3.14. If we wanted it to go back to the same position that it was in, we could say, you know what, we want the position to be actually a little bit safer. So we could say 4. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just return it to where it is, which is 3.14. A couple other things to note. Protection automation is currently in beta. We haven't tested this during a down market, so please still pay attention to your positions while you use automation. Okay, so let's go ahead and set it up. So we'll go ahead and wait for that to confirm. All right, so it confirmed, and you can know that it's active because it's going to say active over here. Awesome. So again, if you want to cancel it, go back to the panel. You can change the variables around and update, or you can just cancel. Now, when automation events occur, there's a different panel that you can use to see what's happened in the position. So if you go here, you go to Utilities, and you go to Automation, and you'll go ahead and you'll see this. And this is basically just telling you your position, what it is right now, when it's going to trigger, and what the target health ratio is for the position. And so right now we only have the event that we had now, which was to create it. Now, a couple things to note. Any event will cause an automation. So let's go back to the position. So if the value of Matic went down, or let's say you were to borrow another asset. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and borrow another asset just to force a liquidation event. So we'll go ahead and borrow another $1.50, and that should be just enough to cause it to issue an automation. Okay, so that confirmed. Okay, so we went ahead and borrowed some USDC, which changed the health ratio and pushed it below the triggering health factor. And automations take about 5 minutes-ish to occur. So we're going to give this a couple of minutes and then go to our automation panel and review. All right, so it's been a couple of minutes, so I'm just going to go ahead and give this a little refresh. right? So we can see the automation occurred. So again, if you want to review the event, you go to automation and you can see here, this is when it executed. And here you can actually see which asset was sold and what debt was paid off. So in this case, it sold Matic and it paid down some of the USDC debt. A couple other things to note. Let's go back to AAVE. So at this time, automation is completely automatic. You can't set any preferences in terms of like which debts would be paid back or which collaterals will be used. It tries to use whichever assets have the less slippage at that time, but there is no guarantee. It's just going to use whatever it's in your position. So one way you can kind of manage around that is you can create multiple accounts, and that way you can more clearly specify which assets you want in the position. And that concludes our introduction to protection automation. Protection automation is now live on Polygon for your AAVE v3 accounts. If you do have any issues or if you run into any bugs or have any suggestions, please reach out to the team over at Discord or find us at our website instadapp.io.